Hi, I'm Roshni Lamino, and thanks for stopping by my channel. If we haven't met before, just a little bit about me. I'm an author, an actress, a voiceover artist, former game writer, songwriter. I wear a lot of different creative hats. And hi, Kat. Um, I work a lot of events, and people ask me questions often, and I don't always have time to get into it. So I thought I would just post all my thoughts here. And hopefully, if you're thinking of living a creative life, they'll help you out. Or if you've ever been curious about what life is like behind the scenes. And this is actually a really good example of what it was I was thinking I would get into today. Hi, baby. It's my cat, Riley. Go on down, baby. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Because I wanted to get into the topic of, oh, okay, all right, I guess we're doing, come on. I wanted to get into the topic of perfection. Trying to be perfect as an artist. And this is really ironic because this is exactly I'm not gonna cut. We're just gonna roll with it. Can you please sit down? Oh my word. Yes, he's my little writing buddy and he's a very clingy boy, so he has to be with me all the time. It's funny, I don't really think I ever had too strong of a perfectionist tendency. And if I did, there was actually a very defining moment in my life that sort of took it out of me, and I'll get into that in a moment. But the trap of perfectionism is something that I've seen happen with a lot of my creative friends, be it actors, musicians, songwriters, what have you. It's okay, okay, okay. Do you want to go down? Okay, go down. Come on. Or not. I don't know what you're doing. Okay. Say hi. Say hi to everybody. Hello, hello. The trap of perfectionism is something that I've seen a lot of creatives get into. Okay, yeah, please sit. Just chill, settle down. Thank you. It's a great example because if I wanted this to be perfect, I'd be cutting 50 million times right now. It's really easy, I think, when you're in a creative endeavor to be like, I need to make this exactly perfect before I can ever release it into the world. You know, before I can hit publish on that book or submit that audition, um, before I put that song out in the world or whatever. And it's kind of funny because who's policing it? There's no such thing as the perfect police. What's the standard, right? I think there's a difference between, oh my gosh, my second cat's coming right now. Guys, I only have so much lap space. Okay. She's like, we're done. We're done. Moving on. Um, the thing about perfection is there's nobody that you're competing against. There's no standard necessarily. And you can't really be perfect in art because art is subjective. That's something I learned early on as a photographer. You can say there's a difference between saying that something is good because it's good technically and that it's good because it's good art. Does that make sense? Not everybody is going to like what you put out there, you know? Um, Derek Sivers, who founded CD Baby, he had this great article in the beginning of CD Baby. I'm sure you can look it up. I think there's like a vault of all his articles. But he had an article that was like, proudly exclude people from your music. And you think, oh my gosh, no, art should include everybody. Yes, it should. But what he was getting at is you're not meant for everybody. If you're bubblegum Britney Spears type pop, you're not going to appeal to like a 50 something year old man who goes hunting, wears flannel, and likes country music. Like, you're just not going to appeal to that. He likes country music and he probably doesn't listen to pop. You're going to appeal to like teenage girls or something. You know what I mean? Proudly exclude some people from your art. I know that, I mean, for example, I write fantasy, romantasy. My audience is probably not going to be an older gentleman who likes nonfiction. Maybe, maybe he might, but it's probably not that person. And I know when I go to an event, I can kind of look in the audience and go, "Oh, okay, she'd probably like my book. She might be more of a hard sell. I'm not sure. Oh, they're only 5. I don't think they would really go for my dark gothic fantasy retelling." Do you know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay to be like, "I am not for everybody. My art is not for everybody." And with the perfection trap, I think especially before you've ever put something out there, it's a really socially acceptable way to say, I'm not gonna do it." You know what I mean? To say, "Oh, I'm still working on it, and I'm still trying to make it perfect." It's a socially acceptable way of not putting yourself out there. Well, what happens if you put yourself out there? You could get rejected. You could conversely, you could speaking of perfection, somebody, I don't know what they're doing in my apartment, I can keep hearing stuff. And again, if I wanted to be perfect, I would just stop this tape right now and be like, "Oh my gosh, the sound," but whatever. Um, but yeah, you could put your stuff out there and get rejected. It's a fact of life as an artist. Or conversely, you could put it out there and it could get really big and everybody wants it. And now you have to live up to that standard. Both are pretty scary. Maybe it's easier just not to do it at all. And I think that's why we get into that mental trap of it's got to be perfect. Now, it's interesting. What cured me of that perfectionism trap was because I was a journalism major and I got really used to writing on deadline. I worked for our student paper back in college. And, let's say, for example, sometimes you had a lot of lead time to work on a story, like if it was a feature article, but let's say sports, right? You go to the sporting event, you come back at like 9 or 10, the paper goes to bed at 11. You have an hour, maybe 45 minutes to write your story and get it out there. You don't have time to agonize over every little sentence. Oh, should I say this or should I say that? Oh, should I put this for the lead or that? You don't have time. You just write it and you get it done. And so I think working on deadline and under pressure like that really cured me of the perfectionism mindset because thank you, sound perfection. Because you just can't, you don't have that luxury. When I was working on my first album in Nashville with my producer, I remember he was working on a couple other albums concurrently. And he had one client who just would be like, "Oh, I don't know if I like this. Let's change this. What if we put this instrument in? What if we did this for the background vocals, whatever?" My producer's like, "You're the client. Sure, whatever." But every time his client changed his mind, it was more time, more money. I think he'd been working on that album for a couple months. And to this day, I don't know if that album ever got released because I think the client was just like, "I don't know. It's not perfect. I'll do this. I'll do that." And the more you muck around and change things, the more it's like, "Oh my gosh, it's not even the original thing anymore." At the student paper, we had this thing. I don't know. It was an older Apple. I don't know what the exact program was, pagination. But now I think if you were saving a file, right, it would say save or like save and close or save and exit. For some reason in that pagination program, pagination is like the page layout program. It said do it and leave. That was the equivalent of save and exit. Do it and leave. And I did a stint on all the desks at the paper and I loved do it and leave. I thought that was hilarious. And it kind of stuck with me. Do it and leave. That's what we are. That's what we do as artists. You do it and then you leave. You put it all out there on the stage or on the page or what have you, and then you leave. And you don't mull it over and you don't sit there and go, "Oh my gosh, should I have done this or done that?" You do it and leave, you know? So, yeah, I would say get out there, put your art out there, do it and leave. Don't worry about perfectionism and know that you're not for everybody and that's okay. That's totally okay. One of the things that I heard a long time ago, which I think is a really really beautiful sentiment, Persian rugs. Thank you, Riley. My cat's sighing. He's like, "Okay, mom." Persian rugs. Um, I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're exquisite and they're handmade. And you can tell a handmade Persian rug um, because it'll have a little tiny flaw within the rug. Nothing that can compromise the integrity of the product, nothing that's glaring like, "Oh my gosh, why is there a big purple thread when the color scheme is yellow?" or something. It's not horrible. It's just a little tiny flaw because the creators of that piece in their philosophy say only God is perfection. Only God can create perfection. So we put this little flaw in there as a reminder and to stay humble. And I just think it's beautiful because trust me, Persian rugs are gorgeous. They're beautiful works of art. And it's okay that there's that little tiny flaw in there. It makes it unique. It gives it character. It makes it special. It's not like everybody else. So it's okay because nobody's holding you up to some random standard of perfection anyway. It doesn't exist. And it gives your performance, your piece of art, your painting, your sculpture, your song, whatever it is you create, it gives a character. It's unique to you. And I think right now, more than anything, the world needs art. So get out there and create. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, you know where all the buttons are, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Say hi to Riley. Woo! Hi, Riley. If you want to keep the discussion going, I do have a Discord. The link will be down below if you want to check out some of my books. You can also find the links down there as well. And thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a lovely day.